Marital property law determines who owns what during a marriage. And more importantly, for creditors, debt collectors, and judgment enforcement professionals, it determines which assets are available to satisfy a debt and how divorce affects your ability to collect. The United States uses two fundamentally different systems of marital property law: equitable distribution, used in 41 states, and community property, used in 9 states plus Puerto Rico. Understanding which system applies and the specific rules of the relevant state is essential for creditors, family law attorneys, and anyone enforcing a judgment against a married or divorced person. Equitable distribution states. In equitable distribution states, marital property is divided by a court in a manner that is fair, equitable, but not necessarily equal. Each spouse's separate property brought into the marriage, received as a gift or inherited, is generally protected from division in divorce. Marital property acquired during the marriage through the efforts of either spouse, is subject to equitable division. For creditors, equitable distribution law has these practical implications. A debt incurred by one spouse during the marriage may or may not be a joint obligation, depending on the state's rules about marital debt. In many equitable distribution states, only the spouse who signed for the debt is personally liable. The other spouse's separate property is protected. Community property states. In the 9 community property states, Arizona, California, Idaho, Louisiana, Nevada, New Mexico, Texas, Washington, and Wisconsin, plus Puerto Rico, property acquired during the marriage is owned equally by both spouses, regardless of which spouse earned it. Income earned by either spouse during the marriage is community property. Debts incurred during the marriage for community purposes are community debts owed by both spouses. For creditors, community property law provides significant advantages in the right circumstances. A community debt can potentially be collected from the community property of both spouses, not just the earnings and assets of the debtor spouse. The interaction between marital property law and divorce. When a couple divorces in an equitable distribution state, the court divides marital property. A judgment entered after the divorce attaches only to the assets awarded to the debtor spouse. A judgment entered before the divorce may affect both spouses' interests in undivided marital property. People Locator. Skip tracing assists creditors, attorneys, and enforcement professionals in identifying marital property interests, locating divorced spouses, and tracing assets in both equitable distribution and community property jurisdictions. Visit peoplelocatorskiptracing.com to place your order.